Hey, what's going on everyone? Justin here, and in this video I just want to share the 10 or so books that I picked up for myself in the month of December. I already have a different video for the gifts that I was given for like Christmas and holidays and that kind of thing, if you want to check that one out. But I've been reorganizing my shelves and cleaning them out and everything, and all my calculations. I'll have at least 4, maybe 5 completely empty shelves. Plus, I'm trying to have like a little bit of space on like each of the ones that do have books on them. So I should have quite a bit of room to expand again in 2025, which is really cool. So I got myself mostly some secondhand books here. And yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. I got some science, a couple history-ish ones, and a couple philosophy-ish ones. So first up, we have Deep Water, The World in the Ocean by James Bradley. This was on my radar from when I was doing, I think, my anticipated releases that I do for each month. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't heard of the author before, but I did read some of the blurbs, and we got Robert McFarlane, Julie Burwald, and Edith Witter. And Edith Witter, you need to read Below the Edge of Darkness. It's an awesome science memoir about studying animals that like have bioluminescence in the deep ocean and everything. But anyways, since I had all 3 of those blurbs, I was like, I need to like try this out. I don't really know exactly what the book is going to be like per se, but from what I understand, it's going to be kind of a microscopic and a macroscopic look, and kind of a deep dive at like oceanography, ocean life, like ocean climate, everything like that. So kind of the big picture and like kind of a bunch of like little vignettes and that kind of thing. Plus, I thought the cover was really nice as well, which never hurts. Next up, we have The Darkness Manifesto on Light Pollution, Night Ecology, and the Ancient Rhythms That Sustain Life by Johann Eckloff. And not gonna lie, I honestly picked this book up just because of the concept of night ecology, and getting a book directly on light pollution was really intriguing to me. I've read a lot about light pollution, probably most notably on like Carl Safina's like Voyage of the Sea Turtle. I used to live in Florida, and so kind of thinking about all the turtle eggs and everything that I've seen before, how light pollution really affects turtles, like as they kind of try to, when they hatch, kind of go into the water and everything like that. So I wanted a book, like when I saw this, I was like, I gotta get this at some point. Like I said, just a book on light pollution, but also night ecology sounds really cool, about maybe all the bugs, moths, and things that come out like during the nighttime, how they get affected by lights and whatnot, bats maybe, and stuff like that. So yeah, like I said, don't know too much about it, but it sounds like a great topic. Next up, when I was in a used bookstore, I had to pick it up. It's White Feathers, The Nesting Lives of Tree Swallows, and this is by Baron Heinrich, who's one of my favorite authors. He's a pretty prominent scientist in biology and stuff. He used to teach, I think it was the University of Vermont, but he also did a lot of experiments from his backwoods, off the grid cabin in the Maine woods, which I think is really cool, just because that's the exact same environment that I live in the backwoods of Maine. So like reading about his experiments, and his just like kind of when he talks about like going for walks and stuff, and he's describing the same things that I have, just feels good and stuff. And this is all about, I guess, tree swallows that I think he just kind of like watched or helped rear or something. Like I said, I plan on pretty much reading his entire bibliography at some point. I think this will be like book number 6 off the top of my head. I'm not 100%, 6 or 7. So anyways, I saw this one, and I was like, I think this one technically was, they only charged $5 for it, even $5.50, even though it was like brand new. So I was like, whatever, it's in the used bookstore, I'm gonna get it. It was a cool find. And then lastly is a classic that I'm like ashamed that I have not read at this point in my life yet, and it's Desert Solitaire by Edward Abbey. I read so many excerpts from like other works quoting him, and like learning about Edward Abbey and his kind of antics and his like stances, and even his burial and stuff is something of like a legend and whatnot. But I've never actually just sat there and read Desert Solitaire all the way through. So when I saw this, I think it was the same kind of situation where it was like $5, like in that used bookstore. Even though it's like a brand new copy, for whatever reason they had like a bunch of copies of this one. I was like, apparently it was made for me, so there was no way I was like leaving the building without it. So it's just a complete classic of like of nature writing, but it's interesting because you don't always see kind of the desert ecosystem talked about in a lot of these things. You get a lot of mountainside stuff, you get a lot of forest stuff, even some like beach stuff, waterfront stuff. Not a lot of desert stuff. I'm not gonna lie, I've never even like been to a true desert, so I think it'll be really interesting for me to look at. And then next up, we have a pure history book. We got Nero, Matricide, Music, and Murder in Imperial Rome by Anthony Everett and Roddy Ashworth. So there is a reading the Roman Emperors reading challenge by Robert G. I'll leave a link to his video down below. And I'm going to probably be doing a video about all the books that I've read so far on biographies of like Roman emperors and whatnot. I have read, I know at least one off the top. I read Rome is Burning, about, the Great Fire of Rome and Nero and like his involvement, or not really involvement, in that incident and whatnot. But yeah, Nero and Caligula definitely have, have a little bit of a bit of a rap in Roman emperor kind of historiography and stuff. So I don't know if I've ever read just a pure biography straight through of just Nero. So I think it'll be pretty interesting. Anthony Everett in particular is pretty famous for his classical popular history books. He's done a couple. I think I've read his Hadrian, for example. I'm pretty sure he has one on Augustus. I know Cicero obviously wasn't an emperor and stuff, but he's got one on Cicero. His Rise of Athens was probably my favorite one that I've read of his so far, but I feel like this one will just be just kind of a, maybe fun's not the right word when dealing with Nero, but it will be kind of interesting just because from all the other stuff I read, the pendulum's starting to swing towards like him being actually like a pretty decent-ish emperor as far as like actually like ruling the empire for at least like the majority of his reign. Which I think, I can't remember off the top of my head, it was like around, 12, 15 years, something like that. Maybe that I'll put the actual number like right there off the top of my head. Anyways, like I said, just kind of I saw it and I was like, you might as well if I'm going to participate in that challenge. So let me know down below if you want me to do a video kind of just on all the books on Roman emperors that I've already read and have, and that kind of thing for that. And next up is a book that I got. I don't know anything about it till I happened to see it. But it's all about just like, I like reading. I've been pushing myself to read more challenging books, I guess, on like, challenging topics, I should say. And this one is Blood and Earth, Modern Slavery, Ecocide, and the Secret to Saving the World by Kevin Bales. And this is all about the connection between slavery, mostly in Africa, and kind of like the forest degradation and like the mining catastrophes that kind of go along there. What really intrigued me was these, like I said, I read the blurb on the back here, and this is from Bill McKibben, who I trust pretty well as far as like environmental issues and stuff go. This is a remarkable book demonstrating once more the deep links between the ongoing degradation of the planet and the ongoing degradation of its most vulnerable people. It's a bracing reminder that a mentality that allows throwaway people also allows a throwaway Earth. So that like got me really intrigued as far as like, like I said, I like want to push myself to read more challenging books. Let's see, but he's kind of talking about where is it? So Bale set off to find the answer in a fascinating and moving journey that took him into the lives of modern-day slaves and along the supply chain that leads directly to cell phones in our pockets. What he discovered is that even as it destroys individuals, families, and communities, new forms of slavery that proliferate in the world's lawless zones also pose a grave threat to the environment. Simply put, modern-day slavery is destroying the planet. So I just thought it'd be probably an important topic to kind of like know about and like learn about, and maybe get some more leads on further reading on a topic like this. Next up, we have some philosophy-ish books, I guess. I don't know exactly what you call like the next two. But first up, we got Sven Brinkman's Stand Firm, Resisting the Self-Improvement Craze. I'm really interested because I love Think, which is all about just enjoying critical thinking and doing like thought experiments and stuff like that. So I wanted to get more stuff by Sven Brinkman, and this one just intrigued me because I know biohacking and the rising grind mindset and always improving and won't be becoming better achieving. Byung-Chul Han probably will make an appearance in this book with like Burnout Society and stuff. But this book is all about not doing that. And just finding like I don't know, I'm not exactly 100% sure, but standing firm against always feeling pressured to get better, to get, better, faster, stronger, whatever that actually applies to you, in your life. And just like how that's not always like the best way to live, I guess, or something like that. So I don't know. It just sounded really intriguing. I'm kind of excited to get reading on it. So the pace of modern life is accelerating. To keep up, we must keep on moving and adapting, constantly striving for greater happiness and success. or so we were told. But the demands of a life in the fast lane come at a price. Stress, fatigue, and depression are at an all-time high, while our social interactions have become increasingly self-serving and opportunistic. And it kind of goes on from there, but it all made sense to me, so I'm excited to kind of look into it. One that I wanted to get, has popped up in a couple of different places and stuff for me, is Martha Nussbaum's Not-for-Profit, Why Democracy Needs the Humanities. And this is all about how the humanities and the social sciences and a lot of stuff like that just get ragged on so hard. And granted, I'm a big proponent of STEM and stuff. I took biology and things in college. I didn't get a biology degree, unfortunately, and I read tons of nature books. I have the science reading challenge and everything. But the humanities, I think, are important. I think, like, having, critical skills are important and everything like that. I'm not 100% sure what the entire book is about, but I know that's kind of like the thrust of the book, and it's popped up several times in a couple of other reads that I've had. So when I was able to get this on the cheap, I was like, well, might as well for sure. Next up, we have in that used bookstore, there just happened to be a random book on PlayDoh. It's just PlayDoh by Andrew S. Mason. Don't know anything about it, never heard of the author, anything like that, but it was like $3 or something. And as I was flipping through, the person who read it highlighted a ton, so I think it's gonna be kind of fun to read about PlayDoh and his thoughts and everything, and then kind of going through his whoever did this, their notes and what they thought was important and stuff, and what I might think is important and everything. I don't know, like I said, it happened to be there and I picked it up, so there we go. And then the next two are kind of books on similar topic. So for those who are on my philosophy Discord, I'll leave links to all those below as well. I kind of rag on Stoicism and the Broics, as we call them, a little bit. And one of the opposing schools of thought in the ancient world was Epicureanism, under the tutelage and kind of the life lessons and teachings of Epicurus. Epicureanism in modern parlance has somehow become hedonism. Just somehow it's the complete opposite of what Epicurus kind of taught. His whole philosophy was technically on pleasure being the greatest good, but his teachings really showed that to achieve that, it was basically just by not wanting and desiring all this frivolous stuff, just being really basic and simple, and you'd be happy. So this is apparently this is one of the modern books kind of showing how Epicureanism is a good, I guess, choice. I don't know, kind of defending it against Stoicism and some of the other stuff. I'm not 100% sure exactly, but it's Catherine Wilson, How to Be Epicurean, the Ancient Art of Living Well. So when I saw it in the bookstore, that used bookstore, I was like, I gotta totally pick it up for sure. I have her Oxford Very Short Introduction to Epicureanism as well, and I'll probably read them back to back just to kind of get a good grasp of everything. But like I said, I'm very intrigued by Epicureanism. I feel that's this next book will probably be kind of more of a description of kind of how I view it and everything. But Epicurean Simplicity by Stephanie Mills, and this is all about about the author who kind of started. I don't think it's necessarily homesteading, but kind of living more in the country, living the slow life and everything, and then finding Epicureanism and combining it or something like that. And I was like, wow, that sounds like me, living in the middle of rural Maine and stuff. So I was just super intrigued about it. So it's gonna be part philosophy, part memoir, part like I said, I'm not 100% sure, but like I said, I happened to see that one as well, and I was like, why, sounds perfect for me. I don't know, so I don't even know what else to say about it. I'm purposely trying to have a blank slate on this one, not doing any reviews of it or reading up on. Usually I try to get some book reviews or and kind of just some general thoughts from other people before I buy books, but this one I was like, no, I want to go into this kind of thing brand new. I'm not 100% sure, but anyways, those were the 10 or 11 books that I picked up in December. I'm excited to get to a few of these. Do you know if you have... Wow, I'm going to keep that in because it's at the end. I don't even care. If you have a favorite book that you picked up over December of last year, let me know in the comments down below. I'm always on the lookout for great recommendations and that kind of thing. But always remember, whatever you end up reading for the rest of the month, read victoriously.